Looking for a bead bracelet that'll make you think? Well, here's a design just for you, the Ladder Link. The Ladder Link bead bracelet is another creation that's quite unique. It has a similar look to a chain, and it uses the ladder stitch technique. With a bracelet that looks like this, you may want to make one or even a pair, the perfect kind of bracelet that you'll want to wear and share. It's turbo awesome, you'll find it great. It's simple design that's fast, fun, and easy to make. So let's get ready for this tutorial to satisfy your creative needs. Feel free to give this video a like and enjoy this episode of TurboBeads. Here's the list of everything you need to make the Ladder Link bead bracelet. Before starting this project, I'm just letting you know that I'm using Kandi strings made by Pepperell Braiding Company. It's a crafting string that comes in a 50-yard spool. It's a round plastic lace that has a bit of flexibility to it, and it works great. With that being said, I'm just keeping you informed and letting you know that this is a personal choice. This is not a sponsored video. As a heads up, I'll also be using the white Kandi strings as well. Of course, it's the same kind of string which will be used to alternating the colors for each link of this bracelet. So no more need to hesitate, let's create something great. To make the Ladder Link bracelet, the first thing we'll need to do is take 10 inches of string. Then we're going to take our first bead and add that bead to the string. Once you have that bead on the string, you'll match up both ends, pushing that bead toward the center of that string. Be sure that that bead stays in the middle of the string to ensure you have the same length of string to use on each end. From here, we'll take one end of the string and add a bead to that string. Once you have that bead on the string, you'll take your other end of string and run it to that bead as well, going in the opposite direction. With that string through each end of that bead, you'll pull both ends of the string until you reach the top, bringing all of those beads together. Creating the next row is just as simple. You'll take one end of the string, add a bead to that string, then you'll take your other end of string, run it through that bead as well, going in the opposite direction, pulling both ends of that string until you've reached the top, bringing all of those beads together. Continue repeating these steps, creating additional rows, adding the bead to one end of the string, taking the other end of string, running it through that bead as well, going in the opposite direction, pulling both ends of the string until you've reached the top, bringing all of those beads together. So we'll just continue this until we've created 8 rows to create the link. And as a quick tip, be sure to pull that string just enough, keeping those beads in a tight formation. So once you have a ladder of 8 beads looking just like this, you should have 2 ends of string coming out of this bead here on the end. From here, you'll take one end of the string and run it to the first bead that was added to that string. When you pull that string all the way through, the 2 beads should come together looking just like this. From here, you'll tie both ends of string together with a knot to lock all of these beads into place. When tying your string together, be sure that your knot is tied nice and secure to ensure that everything stays locked into place and holds together. With that knot tied and everything locked into place, carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. As you can see, we've created the first link of this bracelet. This is exactly what it should look like. From here, we'll need to create additional ladder links to add to this one in order to make the bracelet. Just like we've done before, we're going to take 10 inches of string and we're going to add a bead to that string. When you have that bead on the string, you'll match up both ends of string, pushing that bead toward the center of that string. This way, you'll ensure that you have the same amount of string to use on both sides. With the bead set in the middle of that string, we'll have 2 ends of string to use. We'll take one end of the string, add a bead to that string, taking the other end of string, running it through that bead as well, going in the opposite direction, pulling both ends of the string until you've reached the top, bringing all of those beads together. From here, you'll see that we'll just continue repeating these same steps until we've created a ladder of 8 beads. As I've mentioned before, be sure that you pull the string just enough, keeping those beads in a tight formation. So now that we have that ladder of 8 beads looking just like this, we can attach it to the previous link. Let's go ahead and take the first link, and we'll run that ladder of 8 through the center of it, just like this. Once you have that ladder of 8 beads through that center of the previous link, we can now close this link together by taking one end of the string and running it through the first bead that was added to that string. When you get that string through that bead and pull it all the way through, the bead should come together. Now you can tie both ends of string together with a knot to lock everything into place. When tying your string together, be sure that your knot is tied nice and secure to ensure that everything stays locked into place and holds together. With that knot tied and beads locked into place, carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. As you can see, we now have 2 ladder chains linked together. This is exactly how it should look, and is the basic concept for building this bracelet. From here, we'll create another ladder of 8 beads. Then, you'll run it through the center of a completed link, just like this. Then, when you get that string to that link, we'll close in the ladder by taking one end of the string and running it through that first bead that was added to that string, pulling it all the way through, closing in that gap. Then, we'll tie both ends of string together with a knot that's solid and secure, ensuring that everything stays locked into place and holds together. Again, when that knot's tied and everything's locked into place, carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. As you can see, we've added another link to this chain of links. Let me show the steps once again on adding links to this bracelet. Create a ladder of 8 beads, then run it through the center of a link here on the end. Then we'll close the gap by taking one end of the string, running it through the first bead added to that string, pulling it all the way through, then tying both ends of string together with a knot, locking all of those beads into place. As I always mention, be sure that your knots are tied nice and secure, ensuring that everything stays together. Then you'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. From here, we'll just continue adding additional ladder links to this bracelet until you have just enough to fit the size of your wrist. As you already know, everyone's wrist sizes are different. Be sure to adjust accordingly, as you may need more or less beads depending on the size of the wrist as well as the size of the beads. So once you have just enough links to fit around your wrist, we'll need to connect the 2 ends of this bracelet together with another ladder of 8 beads. What you'll do is run that ladder of 8 through the center of a link on one end as well as a link here on the other end. So just watch close as I guide these beads through the center of this link. With this visual, you should be able to see that we have this ladder of beads to the center of the links on each end. Now we can close in the gap by creating a link. Again, we'll just take one end of the string and run it to that first bead that was added to that string, pulling it all the way through. Now we can tie both ends of string together with a knot that's tied nice and secure, ensuring that everything stays locked into place and holds together. Once your string is tied and everything is locked into place, you'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string and your ladder link bracelet is now complete. And there you have it, another awesome bead design that looks fine, that was fun to make. Hopefully this tutorial was helpful and you can create one just as great. If there's anything you would like to add, requests or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. And if you are new or you just haven't already, don't forget that you can always subscribe if you want to be notified for more bead tutorials just like this one. Hoping you'll tune in for the next one to satisfy your creative needs. Until next time, be sure to wear it and share it. Thanks for watching TurboBeads.